Here's something that some of my older watchers might enjoy. This is a Svea 123 compact white gas backpacking stove. You may have seen these back in the 60s or the 70s. They were pretty common. My dad told me stories about how these used to be the way cool thing because they were super small. Here's like, you can hold it in your hand like this. You can throw it in your backpack. It carries the gas for you. It's basically brilliant. My dad picked this up yesterday at a garage sale for a few dollars, and he thought, hey, you know, Tyzo might like this, so he picked it up. And so yeah, it's basically a really cool, clever little integral gas stove. And when it's all wrapped up, it looks like something like this. The handle goes inside as well, but the little boiling cup goes over the top, or the pot, and everything attaches nice and tidy. If you have like a mesh bag, it might be good for holding this in. But if I can just take this off. So yeah, this is the Svea 123. This is actually the Svea 123R. The reason it has an R after it is it has a tiny little pin that comes out of the jet, which you can just barely see inside there. The little pin comes out and it cleans it. The original 123 model had a little tool that came with it, so you'd unscrew the top or the bell, and you'd poke it and you'd clear that out, get all the gunk off. So this came with a couple of little accessories, including the instruction manual, or a piece of the instruction manual. I don't know how much came with this thing, but it has instructions in 3 languages, I think. Well, it's got it in Swedish, German, French, and English. So, yeah, this is the original manual. I can't tell, there's no date on it. There may be a way to date these things, but it's not really necessary. This has actually got the old model, original 123 on it. You can tell because of the downward bent valve. And these are just general instructions. I haven't even read over these. I saw a video or two on YouTube last night trying to figure out how it works. And I grabbed some white fuel today and I poured it in there and gave it a shot, and it boiled some water, which is very cool. A couple little gas leaks here and there, and you'll see that at the end of the video. I recorded that and put that on there. But yeah, it boils water. It works pretty well. It's pretty cool because most white gas stoves, if you ever go camping, you know this. Like I'm used to Coleman's and MSRs and that sort of thing. See if I can get this off here. So it comes in 2 parts, 2 main parts rather. Sorry, it's kind of tricky to do this. So here's the main. Actually, first I'll do the wind shield, or wind guard, or whatever they call it. This sort of keeps the wind from blowing too much air around it, but it keeps it also keeps air going through the thing. So there's a few little gaps around the edges there, and that it gives you some options for fitting the key through. And the more interesting part is the oh, I should point this out. These can be faced in for if you're using the small little cup thing, or if you're using a bigger pot, and if you don't have the big pot accessory, which I'll show you later, you can spread these out and then hold a bigger pot a little more stably, a little more stably. So if I can just point these in. Sorry for the shaky camera work. And here's the burner. The bell is a little bit wobbly. If I were to unscrew it, it would sort of wiggle back and forth, but it seems to work okay. Here's the the multi-tool that comes with it, and it's constantly attached with a chain so you don't lose it. This sort of feeds through one of the little holes there, and you attach it to there when you need to adjust the flame. Left is loosen, all the way left is get the pin poking through the top, and it clears the jet. And of course right here, I may have actually winched it down too tight, but what's cool is you have these little hex things on there, and you can just do that and then loosen it right up. And inside here, there might be a little bit of gas left in there still, but you can't see. There right there is a little white wick. That's part of what gets the gas going up into the jet. So if you're common with Coleman or MSR or any of those gas types of white gas stoves, you'll know that usually they have a little pump, and this one doesn't have one, as you can see. So the way you have to get it primed is you actually need to get it heated somehow. Now it actually does come with a way that you can do this. Basically, if you hold it in your hand, it'll create enough heat to get a little bit of pressure built up from the white gas, because it's so sensitive to heat that it'll start to expand when you and you put your hand around it, and that'll get it warmed up enough so that if you open the valve a tiny bit, a little bit of the gas would come through the jet, and it would actually pool up down here. And this is what they call a spirit cup, at least in the translated instruction manual. It says the spirit cup. Oh, this is pretty cool. Check this out. Looks like it takes benzene, petrol, essence, and benzene. Probably different. I'm not exactly sure what all those ones are. And made in Sweden. Svea 123. It doesn't say R on it, but this is the R model. So yeah, as I was saying, once you got it heated up with your palm a little bit, you loosen this up with the thumb screw, and then a little bit of your fuel pools up in there. And then once you've got that going, you set that ablaze with a match, and that sort of just heats up the entire thing. It heats up the tank reservoir a little bit. And while you're doing that, you feed the key through this little hole right there, or one of these holes, and then you set this down on top of it. And I wonder if I can do this with one hand. It might be kind of tricky. Might be able to. Through there. And sort of get it over the top there. And then you press it down and turn it. Give me a second. Yeah, turn it like that. And then you can access the heat thing right there, or the throttle right there with the key. And you should keep it out all the time, unless you're adjusting, because it makes a lot of heat. And once it's all heated up there, you just hold a match over the burner and you turn the jet on by twisting it to the left. And then once it gets heated up and everything's roaring, and it makes a pretty nice little stove. So as I said, this one comes with a couple of accessories. Here's one of them. This is actually a large pot holder. This is not made by Svea. This is made by SIG of Switzerland. You can barely read that. Don't know anything about that company. But essentially, once you have this built, you're not actually supposed to have the top bit on, but I'm not going to remove it again because that was a pain. Actually, yes, I will. I'll be right back. Alright, yeah, to actually put that in there, you do need the top off. So, you just stick it on there, like that, and it grabs it with its two bent washers, and then that stays in there more or less securely. And if you turn it so that the nozzle can be, or the throttle can be adjusted like this, so you've still got a little access to it, and then you put this part over it, over the burner, or the bell, and then you've got a nice big support for if you want to do a pan or something, you're making eggs, or if you're, I don't know, if you're boiling a larger pot of water. So that's what that can be used for. And once it's going, once the flame is going and everything's staying heated up, the pressure inside stays high. So yeah, it's very, very cool. It's a very simple design, very efficient, and it works pretty darn well. They're a little bit dangerous. If you're not careful, you can make them. There are reports of them exploding, but that's if you're honestly being kind of a moron. Apparently, if it gets too hot, like if you don't have enough, if the bottom gets too hot because you don't have enough air accessing, if you have an entire wind shroud around it and it's not getting enough air, apparently the vapor in here can get so pressurized that it'll have like flammable vapors inside the air, and there's a pressure release valve inside that thing. I'm thinking it's inside there. Yeah, inside there's a tiny little pressure release, and that'll basically spray out flammable vapors, and that will basically catch on fire from the main jet, and then you'll have a huge raging fire, and apparently they can also explode. So there's that. That's a little Svea 123, and we'll move on to the video of me operating it. And yeah, since I don't say thanks for watching in that, I'll say thanks for watching now, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, so I'm going to try to do the Svea 123 this time without the large pot expander, just with it by itself. And I've already got some alcohol down in the spirit cup, or some of the white gas rather. I'm going to do it the safe way, so I'm going to go ahead and light it with the extendy thing. Alright, so it's going. Now, if it wasn't already warm, because we did the large pot first, then I would have to... I wonder if it's leaking out of the... Oh, it's already gone a little bit. It's a little bit... looks like the some of the seals might need to be tightened or something. I wonder if maybe it has some gas on the inside of the thing already, but I'll let it burn off a little bit, and then once it's warm, we'll light it a second time, get the gas going, and then light it a second time. Actually, maybe I could just start it like this. That's a little tight. Hold on. Alright. There it goes. Take the key off. Now, I am doing it with one hand, which isn't particularly wise, but like this, stick it on top. And that is what the Svea 123 looks like, running in its original configuration. This is the 123R, of course, so it's got the internal little pin which cleans the head for you, so you don't have to have a little tool. But it should get the water boiling pretty quick. I don't have a lid for the little pot, but should do okay. Maybe I can give it a little more. It's not burning terribly cleanly, rather. Okay. Really should be timing this, but I'm not. But we have already got bubbles in the bottom. So let's say it's been on there for 45 seconds or so. I don't know. Oh, it is leaking from the gasket right there, so maybe that needs to be tightened. We've got a hair in there. Luckily, the tool acts as a handy grabbing spatula. So we have got bubbles going up to the top. They're starting to detach from the bottom. So pretty soon, this is going to be just the perfect temperature for tea. Honestly, with the little built-in pot, that's pretty much all you'll be able to heat up. Maybe you could do some cup of noodle or something. Maybe reconstitute some rice for curry or something like that. But it's not a whole lot of water. And I don't like my tea hot either, but it looks like it's getting pretty close. We're starting to circulate. Yeah, that little valve down there keeps spewing a little fire every once in a while, so I'll have to use one of these little hex tighteners on there, and once it's cooled down, I'll tighten that down a little bit. See, there it goes. There's a bunch of green coming from over here, though. I just blocked it a little bit. Actually, a little bit of a simmer there is good enough for my tea, so I'll just set it off. I'm sure if you wanted to find out, like, oh, it's pretty loud, but that should be plenty good. So you just grab a little tong, sorry about that. You just do this, and then back off because I have no shoes on because I'm clever. And look at that, it's perfect amount for some tea. So, there you go, there's running the Svea 123 and the little expanding attachment thing. So, cool stuff.